Let's take a little look-see. I'll retweet that. Yeah, we'll retweet that. What is this? Oh, okay, we should be good. Nope, stop. Nope, stop. Stop. Okay, well, that's fine. Started playing our Twitter-based video, and it wouldn't stop or mute or pause, so it's working okay.
Huzzah!
Technology.
Working as intended. It is a
That's
feature
right.
now.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
I hate features.
Close those show notes, open that email, take that show notes, drag it into there. There we go.
Not seeing it on Twitch yet.
It's going.
I was gonna say we're live, yeah.
Okay. I'll trust you guys. I just see last week's video on Twitch.
Nope. I put fire in the chat, and it shows up with fire in the chat.
Nice. Fire in the chat.
I don't remember.
Out with my tears.
There's one person, and I don't remember who. I keep getting like random free subs from people. And there's one person that I keep getting the table flipping one from that I really like, but I never remember who gives me the free sub for that streamer, so I can keep having it. And then I'm just like, I should just make that with mine, so that way I just have it.
Right. I could have it all the time.
Yeah. But I'm lazy.
Oh, man. Okay. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yes.
Is your cat going nuts still down there?
Yeah. She already scratched me once because I wasn't paying attention to her just now. So.
Oh. Sheesh. New fourth chair on the show.
Oh.
Name's Cowcat.
Mine has finally calmed down and nestled herself asleep in a pile of paperwork I need to file.
She's helping.
That's about right.
She was helping by staring shit up, and yeah, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, keep it down, nerds.
Beforehand.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpear.
Hi, I guess.
And the Nimp.
Hello.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
Get all the... boy, we had a heck of an outcast this week. If you're a patron at the $2 or higher tier, you can hear our sort of unscripted, uncensored, exclusive outcast that's only for patrons. We recorded for about a half an hour so far, and we talked about, I think, probably 15 different topics. So if you want a rapid fire one that covers pretty much everything, it's a real good one this week. You can get that over there. You also get 2-week early access to We Roguelike It, a show where Moon and I are playing every roguelike in history. No promises. There's an asterisk on that. And Critical Misses. Moon and I are catching up on all the media hits we've missed. We are knee-deep into Season 12 recording right now. We're wrapping that up. And got to figure out what we're going to do for next season. And
oh yeah, that's going to be a fun one to figure out.
Yeah, see what's awaiting us there. So, get all that cool stuff at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
Also wanted to put a quick plug here. I realize we almost never talk about our YouTube channel. There's a link to it on the right-hand side of the page over at tvgp.tv. It has video versions of everything we do, from Pup to Game Club to... There's a new Game Club episode out right now, actually, for Sable. Our next game is going to be Tunic for this upcoming month. And even stuff we don't live stream, like Game Club and for Critical Misses and all that stuff, with video versions of all of that stuff over there. So go subscribe if you want to watch this stuff, including the live stream archive of this. So go check that out over there. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Well, can we talk first and foremost about how you throw me off every single time we do a Game Club episode? Because you're like, yeah, there's a Game Club episode out now. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't even upload my file yet.
Right.
And then I remember it's because
now
this
in
is
the in now's future.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that.
No problem.
Okay. I've only got 3 games to talk about this week.
Okay.
One of them is going to be with Boston, so I'm going to let Boston take the majority of that, so we can leave it till the end, and then people can skip forwards through the complaining sections.
You're welcome for chapters, everyone.
Yep. So let's start with Rainbow Six Extraction. Yeah, this game continues to still be fun. I'm shocked about how much I enjoy this every single time I play it. I'm also shocked at how much they're updating the game constantly.
Nice.
Which means that someone who plays it a little bit like me is in a bit of trouble because now they've got harder enemies.
Oh no!
Like, no, stop this! Stop it!
It's not what I'm here for.
No. Just give me the normal people I was facing previously, please. They're hard enough to figure out. There's a weird dude, like a weird enemy in that game who looks like the Demogorgon and has like flower petal face that closes, and then you can't shoot it. It's stupid.
Oh wow!
It's really annoying.
That's rough.
Yeah, so like I ended up just running a stun grenade loadout, and then anytime I'd see one of them, I'd pop a stun grenade on the floor, run towards them, turn around, listen for the bang, turn around, and go and like melee attack them down. Do the old, the old 360 no scope stab in the face kind of routine.
Right.
But no, it's Rainbow Six Extraction. I still love the way it plays. I still love the fact that I'm making progress without feeling penalized for not spending a boatload of money on the ridiculous cosmetics that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And the cosmetics I'm getting for free are pretty cool. I just unlocked one for Jaeger, who I never use. That's like it's his like helicopter pilot outfit, except it's got flames all over it, so he's like a hot rod. It's like okay.
I played MGS3. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But you know what you're getting into if you've been playing this game, and I happen to like what I've been getting into. Unfortunately, one of our compatriots is always tired, asleep, or otherwise engaged when me and Rob try and play it. So we usually run in a 2-stack, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because it does do that scaling thing where it will scale down to 2 or 1.
Oh, nice.
So
that's great.
It's a little bit better that way. But it's fine. It's fun. I'm enjoying playing it. I will never pay money for this game, so the second it leaves Game Pass, it's the second I stop playing it.
Au revoir, Extraction.
Yes, exactly. So, it's fine. It's fun. Whatever. Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
So, because I have a problem.
Uh-huh.
And that problem is I love to give myself very little time to play games. Go check out this month's Game Club on Sable to listen to the most recent instance of this. Or the upcoming episode on We Roguelike It for this month's instance on that too.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys or the listeners in general, but I have like a set of tabs open on my phone at all times. Like, okay, here is the, a news feed or whatever. And one of those I have open is always the Xbox Wire because they do Game Pass updates all the time. It's like, here are the games coming, here are the games leaving, here are the free perks or whatever you get.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So I'll just follow that just to get the skinny on what's happening with Game Pass on any given week. Except for this week, apparently, when everything just drops on Game Pass and with zero notice at all. Thanks for that. Oh. So leaving Game Pass at the end of this month is a game called Narita Boy, which I have had installed on my Xbox since it came to Game Pass.
And
I've never played it. But now I have a time crunch, so now I have to play it. Rather than just uninstall it, I have to load it up and play it, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So, Narita Boy is an interesting one. And by interesting, I mean weird.
Okay.
And by weird, I mean cool.
Okay.
So, Oh, where do we even begin with this? Okay, so let's start with the title music. I'm just going to start off with the title music first and foremost because I'm going to steal something from our friends over at the BMF cast right here. The title music is a star groove, which is to say it is explaining the plot of the game while you're on the title screen waiting to play the game.
Okay.
Which is interesting enough. It's very inspired by 80s, late 80s, early 90s technology.
Mm-hmm.
If you pull up the logo for me at some point, Boston, and just have a look at that, you can put it on the stream or not. I just want to say the first word that comes to your mind when you see the logo, please.
The one with the people on it is just Tron.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's 100% inspired by Tron.
Yeah.
It's full of 80s computer jargon, the trichroma blade, which is your sword,
Mm-hmm.
the motherboard, who is the sentient AI you're trying to help. They have sentient programs, and it's based in the digital kingdom.
Wink.
That
Wink.
could be anything.
That's right. That could be anywhere.
It's not anything. And I hate the fact that I came up with this, but it's 100% a Tronnabe. I apologize in advance. I couldn't help it.
Let me write that down.
It literally occurred to me, and I couldn't get it out of my head the entire time I was playing. I was like, and not think of this.
Yeah.
But it is like it's a dude in the 80s who gets sucked into his computer to be the hero of the system. You know,
I fight for the customers.
You know, it's all of that stuff, and it's kind of cool so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like the platforming is okay, the combat is fine, the music is banging. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the soundtrack to this game is an absolute killer soundtrack.
I've always loved this game's style. Like, it's incredibly cool.
Yeah, and then it does this whole thing where part of rebuilding the system is you have to rebuild the memories of the creator. Oh yeah, I forgot the sword is the techno sword.
The techno sword.
That's really good.
When you get the techno sword, it plays techno music, and everybody does the techno music dance
Love it.
while you're holding it. It's so stupid on so many different levels, but it's kind of charming at the same way. And like,
feel the
when
trachoma.
Dude, I'm not kidding. It's so weird. Like, part of it is rebuilding these memories. So you go into these vaults and you basically go through like a black and white sepia toned like thing, which is a memory of somebody. You know, and it's like it's the developer growing up and like, you know, the creator growing up and like doing all this kind of stuff. The first boss I ran into was Lord VHS, by the way, just for the record.
That's good.
He 100% had a VHS like instead of a face, because why wouldn't you at this point?
Love it.
It's like, controls wise, it's fine. Like I said, the platform is okay, and the combat is okay. It still feels a little weird in places. But my word, like the soundtrack and just the general aesthetic and style. Like, I'm a Tron fanboy, and I'm not just a Tron fanboy for the new version. I'm a Tron fanboy for the old version too. Like,
Right.
You give me that washed out color palette with, like, you know, just the neon lights on people's outfits, and I'm all in 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. It's just my jam. I destroyed 2 copies of that VHS when I was a child.
Right.
It's cool so far, and I've got 10 days to complete the game. 12 days by the time you hear this. Sorry, 8 days. Jeez. What's going on?
It's getting worse every sentence.
I was gonna say, the more you think about it, the less time you have.
Get off the show. Go.
It's almost like life.
That's right.
And that's not even mentioning the fact that I haven't touched the Iron Banner stuff for this week, and that goes away in like a day and change as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry, the what?
Don't ask. It's a
Destiny thing. Don't worry about it.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
But you know, it was fun to play before I had a panic attack about how little of the other games I'm supposed to play that I had played. So I was like, cool. I'm like 5 hours in. Now I'm going to stop, spend 4 days playing these other games. Now I get to go back and hopefully get it all wrapped up and finished by the time it leaves Game Pass.
Well, what's the how long to beat?
7 hours, but there's like 5 missable achievements.
Got that.
There's 5 missable achievements and
You got
zero good walkthroughs. So I have
zero
to,
chapter selects?
I have 0 chapter selects. I have to have a list of the missable achievements, and it's like, it's in the yellow area. It's like, great. Let me know when I get there, I guess.
I hope I will recognize it when I get there.
But it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to just sit there and play, and then after this, I'm probably going to play Rex's Rad Racer or whatever the hell that thing is called, because apparently I have a problem.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at me, Boston.
No, I don't even know what game that could possibly be based on Rex's Rad Racer. But it sounds like a game that would be...
Because it is.
It sounds like it's a game that's from like NCIS that's addicting the kids. They're all playing R3.
Yeah,
the virtual killer.
You know, the cold intro is just someone wearing the VR goggles, and there's like 2 streams of blood coming out from under the goggles. We're like, Jimmy, no!
Dude, the worst thing is there was literally a Fringe episode about this.
Right.
The games that were the programs that were killing people, but it's fine.
The
it's
games
fun.
that kill.
Yes. Joe, you remember the hand came out of the monitor and grabbed people's faces like poltergeist?
No, but that sounds incredibly cool.
You should really watch Fringe, dude.
I have, but you're giving my memory a lot of credit that it does not deserve.
Kind of amazing. But yes, no. Narita Boy, however the hell you say it, is pretty chill and pretty fun so far.
Yep.
So it is definitely worth a look, especially if you've got more time than I have and can, play it.
Right.
But no, that's fine. The only other thing I played is one Boston will talk more about in detail. So yes, Nimp, what stupid Tron likes have you been playing?
Unfortunately, none. My life has been devoid of Tron likes lately. I was actually, when you had brought up about Tron, I was like, where are my DVDs at for Tron right now?
Right.
I could sit down and watch Tron any day of the week. I could sit down and watch it.
So this week, I was able to play, shocker I know, more Elden Ring.
Yes.
T-Bomb Rocks and I have actually had our own private little chat going on back and forth where we've been just talking shop.
Yep.
I see. Elden Ring, he's got all the time in the world, but Rainbow Six Extraction, no, I'm too sleepy. My partner's awake. No, I can't play.
Nimp doesn't live here anymore. I'm sorry.
Either way. Cat, no. Ouch. Anyway, sorry. So we've just been talking back and forth about random stuff. There's a couple things that he filled me in on, a couple things that I had found and kind of sent to him. It's like, hey, I think someone figured out what all the icons are on the HUD, so now we know what the game is trying to tell us now. But yeah, as for what I actually did in the game, just a lot of random grinding. I kind of figured out where I think I'm supposed to go next, so I went in that direction, found a giant manor, walked in there, and the place just instantly fills with fog.
Great.
All right, so this is going to be the horror section of the game again.
Right.
And as I'm walking, there is a fountain.
Oh.
There's a fountain that I can kind of see. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick aside here. Rex's Rad Racing is actually Racing with Ryan, as Moon was just showing.
I was close.
And it's on Game Pass, I'm pretty sure.
Right. The famous YouTuber, kids YouTuber Ryan has his own game for.
Is that what it is? Because I don't know.
Yeah, he got famous. I've never watched this stuff, but he got famous because
he toy reviewer kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, like opening toys and like, this toy is really fun, and then of course, because it's America, he's now like famous. That's his job now. Congrats, I think.
Well, I mean, take it where you can get it.
Yeah,
whatever.
like get that bag, man. Whatever.
Just don't let it get to your head.
That's right.
Because you're a nobody like the rest of us.
That's
anyway,
right. Sit down, Ryan.
Anyway, so in this fogged area, there's a fountain that I noticed. I'm like, all right, cool. I can barely see it. And behind that, I can see something kind of skitter behind it. And I'm like, oh, great. This is going to be the spider area.
Oh, no. No.
So,
Yay.
what?
As long as it's not a teeth area.
Well, what I want you guys to do for me, and this includes the listeners, is I want you to take your hands and at the wrist, put your hands out like antennas.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for the camera. Just humor me.
I'm just going to do the giant bomb.
Yep. Now, I want you
perfect.
to imagine a third hand right there, right?
3 hand turkeys all together.
That's what this thing was. It wasn't a spider. It was a giant hand that came out of the ground and grabbed me.
It's the hand area I've been hearing so much about.
Scared the hell out of me.
All I've been seeing on... I have nearly everything Elden Ring related muted on Twitter. The only thing that people every once in a while are posting is just hands, all in caps. And I'm just like, that sounds like a genuine nightmare.
This puts Ocarina of Time's Shadow Temple to shame.
Right.
That's my only reference to scary hands.
Yeah.
Other than my own, because they're too long.
Yes. So, they do exactly what you think. If you think of, what is it, Cousin It from the Addams Family?
Yep.
That's pretty much how they move.
Ooh, boy.
While dragging themselves. If they get close to you, they will grab you. And they will throw you on the ground, or they will try to choke you, because like these things are bigger than you, so it's like they envelop your whole body and they're just like squeezing, and you just see your health bar.
Why are you hitting
going
yourself?
down.
Why are you hitting yourself?
Well, the good news is at least everybody who was a fan of Lady Dimitrescu has something to go to now.
Yeah,
there you go.
New weird fetish I want no part of.
Hope this doesn't awaken anything in me.
Yeah. So the other weird thing is once I took those both out, there's also tiny little hands running around.
Aw.
Yeah. That also want to kill you. So
yeah, you are in hand manner, so you know.
Well, that's where I left it. So,
Okay.
like I can't deal with
this
that
right now. I cannot deal with you hands.
Yeah. But the biggest thing that happened with this game too is that a new patch came out. We're now on version 1.03, which buffed and nerfed a bunch of stuff. It doesn't apply to me because everything that they buffed and nerfed I didn't have to begin with.
Sure.
They were all just kind of things that I would have liked to have had and liked to have screwed around with, but now I can still get and they still function. Just I'm not calling down God's wrath now with some sword that people have found and spec towards now.
Right.
Because like I literally one of them was a katana called Moonveil. That its special ability is that I think it like slashes like arcs of blood out in front of you.
Dope.
It basically like shoots it out. And to get this, you had to fight a worm in a volcano.
Love it.
Which I did not know that I had already been in that area and just didn't fight the boss.
This is all very metal. I'm way into it.
So, I get... Cat, what are you doing? I get... I go back into this area after the patch, and then the only place I hadn't been to is there's these giant like wooden doors that I just have to push open. I'm like, all right, let's push those open and see where it goes, and it goes directly into the boss room. And I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. I can't back out now because it's already thrown up the wall of mist behind me. So now I'm just stuck in here. I'm like, all right, well, let me hurry up and summon something. Nope, dragon kills me, or the worm kills me like right then and there. I'm like, no, okay. So go back in there now that I know that it's a boss fight. I think it took like 2 or 3 times before I did finally get him. And then the thing drops the Moonveil for me. I'm like, great. Literally the day after they patched it so it doesn't do the thing that everyone was talking about, I finally get this sword, which it wouldn't have mattered anyway because the intelligence that I have to have for it is way... I think you need like a 24 intelligence to even utilize that part of the sword, and mine's still at 10. So it's not something that I was speccing towards, but it was like that stupid rocket launcher from Destiny all over again. The Valahorn?
Galahorn, yeah.
Galahorn. Where it's like, literally, I had it, and then they patched it.
I got it after? Crap!
So yeah, that's where I'm at with Elden Ring. Still really like it. Still going to keep playing it. Probably start talking less about it now, just because everyone who wants to hear about it has already heard enough about it. So.
Well, and like now you're in probably like a lot of spoiler stuff where it's sort of like I went to a place and I did a thing and that's all I can say.
Yeah, because like right now I've found an area that I'm supposed to be able to do something in. I have no clue what though,
Right.
and there's like blood stains everywhere, and I don't understand why. So, yeah, moving on from Elden Ring, I played a metric butt ton of Fuga Melodies of Steel.
Yeah, let's go.
When did that sale come up, Boston? Was that Monday?
Maybe it might be over already. I don't remember.
So Boston posted the sale for this game. I bought the game, and then I beat the game this week.
Okay.
So that's why I was asking.
Yeah. It's not very long. Like
yeah. So I like and hate this game at the same time.
Yes.
Talking with Boston, I was trying to find out how feasible it actually was to get through your first run without sacrificing anybody.
Right.
And it's feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, though, the game does have an RNG aspect to it that did not make it feasible for me.
Yeah, there's
at all.
the game is really encouraging you to do multiple playthroughs.
Yeah.
Because of something that happens like literally in the final boss battle. So we're not going to talk about it because it's the largest spoiler. But one of the great parts about Fuga is that since it is so short, and when you go to play your second playthrough, or any future ones if you want to do that, it skips the entirety of the intro, and it just throws you into like the first area, and it's like, here is your tank that you have upgraded at the end. You're one-shotting everything in the game now.
Oh, and here's a turbo button too that makes the tank move faster.
Oh my god, there's a turbo button now?
Yeah, you hit R2 now, and the tank moves faster.
What a treat! That's great.
So, the RNG aspect that I am talking about is, for me to be able to develop my weapons more, I had to expand, I get like basically your forge, so that way you can improve your weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Every time you expanded a level, you're capped at a certain level height until you expand it again. The weapons look like they cap out at 20 maximum.
I think that's right. I didn't upgrade everything because at some point it's just like I'm destroying this game. I didn't need to keep going.
Well, my biggest issue was that, so like I said, I talked with Boston, asked him how feasible it was, and he let me know that, hey, it seems like it's feasible. However, you are coming up against a pretty big difficulty spike that seems like the game is heavily encouraging you to use your thing. And I'm like, all right, I'll keep going and see how this goes. I come up against one difficulty spike in a boss, and that one I think it took me a couple tries, but I did eventually get them. I'm like, all right, cool. If that's the worst of it, I should be fine.
Is that the big armored green tank?
No, that's
7
the
or so?
fight before Chapter 7.
Oh, okay.
So, Chapter 7 is when I gave up and just said, F it, let's go.
Chapter 7's boss, I did it legit when I, like the first time through. The game is very clearly being like, you can just sacrifice. Which kid do you like the least? You just put this thing in the soul cannon. Don't worry about it. But I think when I beat that boss on my first playthrough, it was like 45 minutes for that boss battle. It's just, for anyone listening, it's just, the boss is so well armored. It takes you so long to break that armor, and then the amount of damage you're doing to kind of the inside unarmored part is so small that it's not a hard fight once you figure it out. It just takes forever.
Well, here, let me break this down, since this is the boss that I was most infuriated with.
Yeah.
So, because my weapon levels were so low, like I could only get my weapons up to level 5 because I couldn't find blueprints anywhere. Places that were ruins that were supposed to have blueprints were not giving me blueprints, and I was running out of AP during downtime, so I couldn't get any more.
Oh, sure.
And this had been an issue since like Chapter 4, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So like I haven't been able to upgrade my weapons at all this entire time.
Yeah.
So I'm going into this boss fight with level 5 weapons, which is not what you were supposed to be doing at all, but that's
Right.
what I could do. And yeah, like I managed to get the boss down to a quarter health until I had found out that it can sacrifice the 2 units that it summons to regain 4,000 health a pop.
Yes.
Which brought it back to GD full health.
Yeah, it's the time that happened to me, I was just like, why? What god have I upset to make this purgatory happen?
And I think you're the ones who choose to play JRPGs. You all know this is going to happen.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
stomping that thing in your second playthrough in like 2 shots feels really good.
That's what I'm really looking forward to right now. But yeah, because I think I had spent on that fight about a good 45 minutes of delaying and keeping my health and SP up and all that stuff so I could keep attacking it.
And to be clear, if the game, I think it would be a really great fight. Trying to figure out the puzzle of like, all right, when do I guard? When do I break the armor? When do I do damage? Like, making sure that you're kind of getting your attack and defense rotation down. Had the boss not been able to heal itself, I think it would be a really great fight. Like
the boss being able to heal itself, I have no problem with. The boss being able to heal itself back to full health from a quarter health is BS.
Yeah, because I feel like if the boss wasn't able to heal itself at all, it'd be a really great fight that you just spend a long time whittling its health down and you just eventually get it. Maybe you use a bunch of your items or whatever, but like just seeing you're like, all right, I'm gonna do it a couple more turns and it is at full health. What the hell?
Well, and that's not even the most infuriating part about this stupid boss right now. It was also the fact that the 2 things that it can summon can do status effects. One of them being fear, which brings down your party members' accuracy. So you're going from like 100% to like 30% accuracy.
Yep.
And another thing that it can inflict, I think it was called depression, where your characters can't use skills.
Depression is the worst. And you can cleanse your party members of fear. You cannot cleanse your party members of depression. You have to go back to like the side-scrolling thing and
you
like
have to talk to them and
out
waste
of
an
it.
AP, and hope it works the first time. So that coupled with that boss going back to full health I was like, you know what? No, I don't like all of these characters.
Get in the cannon.
The first one that I went to shove in that cannon, the game told me I couldn't do it. So I was already also mad about that. So then I had to pick another character who I was not very happy with to begin with anyway, shoved them into the cannon and moved on my merry way.
Yep. Yeah, for anyone that doesn't remember, throwing a kid in the soul cannon, yeeting their spirit at the boss, just one-shots it.
Yeah.
Kills that boss.
Satisfying thing ever.
Yeah, you don't have that party member for the rest of the game, which Nimb and I had a fun conversation about. You also found the threads online of people being like, every time I run into a boss, I just sacrifice a kid. I don't have any machine gunners. Am I in a bad spot? And it's like, yes, that's a last resort.
And I'm on chapter 3.
That's right. It's like you should be using this as a last resort. Like this should not be just like, whoops, it's a boss, just blah. Like that's not you're in a bad spot, man.
No, I will say my son is also playing this game. He did not have the issues with finding blueprints. So he was able to get his weapons up. I think he said to level 8.
Okay.
And it took him about 45 minutes to an hour, and he was able to beat the boss without using the soul cannon.
Oh, okay.
Because the first time the cheeky little bastard comes walking in here after he beats, I think it was like the chapter 4 or 5 boss, and he's like, I don't know why you were having such an issue with the boss. And I looked at him and said, explain to me in detail what boss it was you just fought, because I can guarantee you right now it was not that boss.
Right. What do you think this boss was?
So when I came down on him like that, he kind of was like, well, maybe it wasn't. I'm like, no, you're not backing out of this. What boss was it? What color were they?
Right.
And yeah, it turned out to be the boss before that. And I'm like, yeah, no, that is not the boss that I had an issue.
Yeah, you'll get there in a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, he did manage to beat that boss because he had better weapons than I did. But there's only one other enemy that I have an issue with in this game, and that is the ones that they can do artillery attacks.
Yeah.
And the only issue I have with that is because they start out looking like a regular tank and they can shoot you that way, or they can raise their cannon straight vertical, like 90 degrees, and they turn into an artillery tank, and then they can start doing like this shelling where it causes fear. The biggest issue I have with that enemy is that it doesn't take, when it comes their turn and they switch which way their turret's going, it doesn't take a full turn. It's like a quarter turn.
Right.
So
Sometimes
then they're
it's
pretty
like
much right.
raising the cannon, blah blah blah. It's like, no, I should have
Exactly.
okay, should have been a turn there, but okay.
And the other issue that I kind of have with the status effects is that I think that like block should help decrease the amount of percentage, I guess, of you inflicting or having that status inflicted on you, because there's status in this game is such a weird, crappy thing.
That's something I'd like to see. They recently announced they're working on Fuga 2 and 3, so they're going to make it into a trilogy. I would really like that to be the case. I don't really mind a lot of the status effects except for depression, but I'm with you. Like, if I can block and it turns it from, like, let's say a 50% to an 80%, I would be way, way happier with that as a system.
Now, with all of that garbage out of the way, still a really fun game.
Yes.
Still really enjoyed it. It's just those two very specific things that I was like, no, screw this game.
Yeah.
Where's the win button so I can continue on?
It's very much like a B-tier game that we love, where it's like, it's really good and has really cool inventive stuff. These three things over here are major problems in the game, but the game is still very good. But you need to know these things sort of going in.
I also really, really enjoy the fact that when you shove someone into the soul cannon, they still show up in cutscenes, but they're scribbled out.
Yes, the game takes a pencil and scribbles them out. It's just like, yeah, you're gonna remember what you did. This kid's not here anymore.
So the game is pretty sweet. I did start New Game Plus, and it is exactly that. Of now, I think I've beaten Chapter 1 again already, and it was just me just strolling through, lighting everything up. I'm not even sure I did delays. I think I just blew everything up.
Use your machine gun. It's just, I'm gonna hit everybody all at once. Are you gonna go for the true ending on your second playthrough?
I will at some point. I don't know if I'll immediately do it, but I am thinking, because
it's pretty easy to do.
Let's say now I have a ruin that I can go to directly now, so I can start getting more of the blueprints. I think my weapons, I think I did max out the workbench or the forge or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
And I think my weapons are around 18 to 19.
Nice.
So I'm not that far off from maxing those out, and then I just have to work on all of the conversational stuff. So what does it get? All 30 conversational things up to level 10 or some crap.
There's some like combination of like 30 combinations up to level 5 or something. Like, I got that in, I think, Chapter 2 of my third playthrough. Like, it was like, here's the last trophy I need. I'm just gonna chat a bunch of people up in my third playthrough.
Yeah, but other than that, I especially on New Game Plus, really liking it again. And the art style I'm still really enjoying.
It's a cool game.
That soul cannon was such a good idea, though.
It's just like, it's such a like, I like that they scribble out the characters in the cutscenes, though, because it's like, no, you don't get to just forget about this person's spirit you threw at this boss. Like, you made a choice.
Well, and it's also the fact that, like we were saying, you have to really think about what you're doing, or you can cause yourself a lot of issues down the road. But then also you have to think, it's like, okay, is it worth doing? If I have a little more patience, can I pull through this? Right. Or is it just like my case where it's like the game's got it so stacked against me right now that there's just nothing I can do? I would have to restart to pull through. Right. So, but yeah, man, no greater satisfaction than loading that thing up. I sent 2 more kids after that towards the end.
I literally cannot wait till someone clips out the most incriminating parts of this show for you, and then just puts them all in a little file.
I mean, here's a clip for you. I shoved 3 kids into a cannon.
That's right. Not at once. The game won't let you do that.
No.
Were they clowns in training?
Nope. They
Nope,
knew
they're
it was
just-
coming too.
They are war-torn orphans. You just shoved into a cannon.
Fuga is a really awesome game. Just watch out for those 3 sticking points.
Yeah.
Last game that I played, which I know Boston has played, is Tunic.
I'm almost done with Tunic.
Good grief.
It's really not that long. It's less than 10 hours.
Well, I just started playing it yesterday.
Okay.
A little
so,
bit.
real quick note here. We're going to try to not spoil anything because virtually everything is a spoiler in a way that I want to make sure we don't spoil anything. So if you want to go in like 100% blind, there are chapter markers in the podcast. Skip on past, but go play Tunic.
I am primarily going to touch on the manual. I will say, though, I have rung the East Bell and I have rung the West Bell.
Right.
And that's it. Getting to the West Bell was kind of a pain. I learned a lot about things that were not in the manual yet and some things that were in the manual. So the best thing is when you're playing this game, you will come across these glowing, it looks like cards, basically. Yep. And you walk up and grab them, and it turns out that they're little pieces of like video game manuals.
Yeah.
And they are written in whatever language they want to call it.
Whatever the in-game language is.
Yeah. And it looks straight up like an old school manual, including little depiction art of the character.
Yeah. And you find out when you pick up the first one, it's the Tunic's in-game manual, like if it was an NES manual, and you're only getting one page at a time, so it's like front and back. So you're getting page like 12 and 13. You're just getting like one page out of the manual at a time. And
I currently have one where it's like I have page 26 on one side and then page like 23 showing on the other side. So it puts it together as you find it, whether it's completed or not.
Yep. Yeah, and like sometimes you'll pick up a page and it's clearly like half of a 2-page spread in the manual, and there's still one. I'm very, very, very far in this game, and there's still one that's like page 50 over here. I know page 49 is the answer to the solution of the thing I've been working on for like 6 hours, and I can't find the page. Oh my god.
But I really like the fact that it's not telling you anything.
Yeah, that's the thing I have enjoyed the most of, like, I think the thing that I told Musa and Moon yesterday after we wrapped up Game Club is the game doesn't tell you anything. You know how to play it. It is, like I said, like I called it last week, it's cute Fox Zelda Dark Souls. So, like, but it also has, like, that discovery of, like, Fez and The Witness, that kind of, like, subgenre of games of, like, here you go.
Yep.
You're in the game now. Go play it.
Well,
and
the best part is that it has, like I said, everything's written in whatever language this is, and then all you have are just the pictures to go off of, and it's up to you to try to piece together, okay, this image is specifically showing, like, this coin.
Right.
And that's all you have to go off. Like,
and what are you going to do?
And then later on, you get another page that the coin is kind of there, and there's like a bunch of other things pictured with it. So then you're like, oh, so if I use this with this, maybe that'll do something.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold.
it's really interesting because you're picking up stuff all the time. And like Nim said, every item has a description, but it's not translated. So, like, the first thing you pick up is a stick. And, like, you go to pick it up, and there is text on the screen, and it says, okay or no. And you're like,
yep,
okay, I guess? And you pick up the stick, and it very much does the Zelda thing of, like, you got a stick, but again, in the in-game text. You very quickly... Yeah. You very quickly find out, oh, this is my first weapon I can pick up. But that extends throughout the entire game of... I just picked up this thing. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's a usable item. Okay, what do I do when I use it? Oh, it does that. Okay. And usually if you're poking around the game enough or you're kind of paying attention enough, you can usually say, oh, I bet I can use this on maybe this or this or this. And you can kind of go experiment a little bit. You'll find a page at some point in the instruction manual that will give you like a gentle nudge of like, look at this thing. Look where this thing is with that other thing, huh? Isn't that interesting? And then usually much later, you'll get a page that explicitly will tell you this thing is used with this thing to do that thing. And then maybe near the end of the game, you'll get like the end game page where it's like, all right, you've done all this stuff. Now this is where you can go to kind of take the next step. And it's really smart that if you don't figure it out yourself, that's fine. It's not going to punish you, but you maybe will have been able to do these things or these other things early, or maybe kind of get a better advantage early.
Well, kind of the cool thing too is that with some things in the manual, it will specifically reference, like it'll show you a thing, like let's say with the keys.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the icon for the key in the manual. You can see the Hyrulean language, and then in parentheses behind that it says page 16.
Right.
Well, I don't have page 16 yet,
right.
So at some point it may, explain.
Yeah, it's gonna be like there's
know.
Clearly something more. Yeah. I just don't know what yet.
And the other best thing is that you can do everything that's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You may not know that you can do it though. Like I found out that there is an ability kind of that I can do with the shield that hasn't been referenced in the manual yet, and I discovered it quite by accident and then tested it out and was like, nope, yeah, that really is a thing that I can do now.
I just discovered that the other day via a GIF on Twitter. I was just like, that would have been so helpful. I actually just discovered something that the in-game manual, this is very late game, so I'm not going to spoil it, but the in-game manual very clearly laid it out, and I was just like, oh my god, this thing has been in front of me for the last 10 hours, and I didn't even notice it, and now I can do it. I'm so happy. This stupid jerk game, I love it so much.
Well, and I didn't realize that you can, I'll just say, improve your stats.
Mm-hmm.
I won't say how or why, but it is referenced in the manual that, hey, maybe you should do, or, you have... Basically, it shows like stats, and then it just says, you should improve these or try to get them to be this level for this or whatever.
Yeah, there's a really early page you get, minor spoiler, where it's sort of like, okay, I want to talk about something else. But it shows you, it says, okay, there's a boss of this area. It will try to kill you. Try to be this strong. And it says like HP 3, defense 3. And I'm just like,
which means absolutely nothing to you.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what? How am I? I don't have stats. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Also, I really love when there's a picture of the game. If there's a picture of Tunic, the game in the instruction manual, it's very clearly taken from a CRT TV with like a Polaroid. It looks miserable. And if you click in the right stick while you're looking in the instruction manual, you pull the manual down and you can see the CRT TV you're playing the game on in like all of its miserable glory with like the 8-bit chiptune version of the soundtrack you're listening to in game.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It is really wonderful. But yeah, it is just a lot of pay attention to the pictures and just keep messing around, and you will eventually discover. Yeah, you'll eventually discover, oh, that's what this thing does, and this is the other thing that I need for this thing, and that's the other thing that I need for this thing. And it's just been really fun to figure that stuff out.
And one more thing about the instruction manual here. I really like that someone has written in it with ballpoint pen. It's like it really, you can zoom in by hitting the A button. You can zoom way in on the instruction manual, and you can even see like the like tricolors if you were looking at like a cheaply produced manual from the NES.
You can see the grain of the paper.
Yeah, like it's really well done.
It makes me wish that there was a physical version of the manual for me to buy, because it looks really awesome.
I really hope that someone makes a physical version of this game at some point, because it seems like have it come with a coin, have it come with the instruction manual, have it come with some cool stuff like a fake player's guide or something.
Yeah.
But
obviously they can't do now because the game's brand new and you're figuring this all out through the manual. So
and like I've gone out of my way to make sure that I don't see anything, because there's been so many of those moments where I was like, oh, I could have. Okay, yes, that's what that means in the man. Okay, cool. Yep. I did laugh out loud at. I wrote this on Twitter yesterday. Did laugh out loud at the name of an achievement. I obviously won't say what it is, but it did a thing in the game. And as soon as it happened, I asked myself a question out loud. The achievement popped up, and it was like 2% rarity. And the question I had just asked myself was the name of the achievement. I was like, thank you. That's really good.
I have a stupid one in relation to bells, because I wasn't paying attention to the achievements popping.
Right.
And once I was done playing the game, a couple hours later, I looked at my phone, and on my phone it shows, hey, you unlocked the achievement dong. And I'm like, what?
Right.
And so I look at, and there's an achievement for ringing the east and west bell. If you ring the east one, it's called ding, and the west bell's called dong. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So,
yeah, my biggest recommendation for this game is go play it. I don't want anyone to be scared off by hearing it's Dark Souls. It's not. It has that same sort of spirit. Like, it's a deliberate battle system. You have to block. You have to lock onto an enemy.
And dodging and
yeah, like the way it explains iframes in this game is just like the cutest and the most creative. Not spoiling it. But like, just go try it and just go play it. Like, sit down for a little bit when you sit down and play it, and just give it a shot and go play it. Try to be as blind as possible, because the game does a really, really brilliant job of explaining itself to you, even though you can't read the text. You can read a little bit here and there, but it is a really, it has my highest recommendation. It is really, 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 really good.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm really liking it. And the maps in this game and the manual look awesome.
They're so good.
And it's funny trying to figure out how they connect, because you know that they do, but then you're just trying to figure out, it's like, okay, this little hand-scribbled map that's on this manual kind of looks like this room. So, okay, so I made it from this section to this section.
Right.
And it's really awesome.
And as old as the manual is in-game, when you find an area that has like a legitimate map, like one of the earliest ones you get is kind of the main area you start in. If you look on the map, the little fox has a little icon where you are on the map. So like it doesn't, even though it is like an NES manual, it still has some modern nods where it's like, no, you're right here. Like, we're not going to make you get lost.
I had to test that because it is so, the fox icon is so small on those maps that on the main map I couldn't tell if that was actually on there or if it was something else. So I kind of moved around, went back to the map. I'm like, okay, no, that is my icon. Cool.
Yeah, it's not lying to me. It's good. Yeah. Go play Tunic. It's legitimate. All I want to do instead of being up here is go downstairs and play more Tunic, because like I feel like every hour I have this big revelation of just like, oh my, okay, this changes everything. Like, this is so incredible. So Tunic is great.
I am looking forward to you guys playing it later. So, but that also means that I have to hurry up and beat the thing before I can listen to you guys, because I don't want you guys to spoil anything.
Yeah, like that whole episode is going to be a big spoiler. Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I played this week.
I've spent the majority of my time this week playing Tunic, or as my kid calls it, the cute fox game. Even his little hair like bobs when you're running around. It's very cute.
One more thing. When he rolls appropriately. He's not going head first into the ground. He's like curling his neck and rolling to the side, you know, like you should. Yeah,
that's really good. So I've been spending most of my time playing that. I guess the new Fortnite season launched today. Epic did literally no teasing leading up to this, so I fired it up today, and it was like, hey man, here's an intro cutscene. Season 2's here. I was like, okay, cool. I guess, hope I finished everything in Season 1. All right. So, I genuinely don't know what's going on with the story. I apparently missed something major in Season 1, but that's fine. Apparently, someone over at Epic, probably Donald Mustard, listens to the show and heard me say that, boy, Fortnite would be really great if it didn't have any building. And guess what they disabled in Fortnite for the beginning of Season 2? You can't build anything, and it's great. I love it. So building has been disabled as part of the storyline, even in like the main Battle Royale mode, and I am very happy. It's very good.
They nerfed the game for you crybabies, huh?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. No more chateaus to the sky. I love it. So I played one match of it this morning, and it seems fine. They added like a sprint to it now, so you can kind of sprint more deliberately. It's fine. Sliding in that game still feels really cool. I like it. But the only other thing I played was a little bit of Destiny 2. Moon joined us for the new raid, Vow of the Disciple, which, as Moon will attest, is probably the most complex raid they have released thus far.
Yep.
Just got to know 27 different symbols. Totally cool. Totally great. We did make really good progress. After some weird bugs, we cleared the first encounter with really no problem. Second encounter was largely better than it was the week before, and the encounter 3 is really rough. It's a race from one room to another, and the game is like, you got a minute and 15 to do it. Let's go. Here's a bunch of enemies and
we
mechanics.
Unfortunately did not manage to lock the 5th chevron in this case.
Right.
That was a great reference that boss will not get.
Nope. But yeah, team did great. Like before, we saw more of the raid. We're making good progress. The thing that's kind of the good and bad thing about the raid group is we only really get like 2 hours a week to go in the raid, which when you're learning it kind of isn't that much time. It's bad because, you know, I always wish we had like, if we had like 1 more hour, I bet we could like figure out how we're going to do this encounter and kind of just motor on through it. But it's also good that we got 2 hours, and if it's not happening, it's not happening. We're not at each other's throats or anything. We're all like 40 years old, so it's like we're not going to fight or anything. But it's kind of nice, and it's kind of unfortunate that we don't have that much time every week. But that's okay. That's why we're the semi-serious raid group. We're not running 3 times a week or anything like that.
Why not, though, Boston? Why not? That's the question.
It sounds like you guys just need to link your Google calendars together.
That's
and
right.
put in some team exercises for some team building exercises.
Right.
I wish I had the
trust
time
falls.
to take that amount
Yeah,
of time.
I wish I had time to do any of that. But yeah, raid so far is good. Everything it looks incredible. It's one of those things where it's like, cool. You're doing kind of a sense of scale, but also architecture that you haven't done literally anywhere in the rest of this game. So it's kind of nice to see. Like the second encounter, Moon can test that one with the giant bone on top of it. It's one of the biggest rooms I've seen in Destiny, hands down. It's monstrously huge.
Sorry, I lost myself again there, remembering my dumb joke. Which, go watch the Hannah stream if you want to hear me make the stupidest joke ever.
Yeah, he made a really British obelisk joke, which was really great. But yeah, we're doing great in the raid, and Destiny 2 still kind of continues to. There's really big story reveals in the seasonal stuff this week that is like a hugely massive spoiler, so we're not going to talk about it here. But it seems like
even got to that point in the seasonal stuff so far.
Yeah, it is very surprising and very good. It's also really nice to see that the story stuff seems to be largely wrapped up already, so they kind of did it in the first 4 weeks, and then people can kind of catch up whenever they're free. So it's nice to see that they're continuing to kind of decrease the FOMO as much as possible. Where like, so if anyone doesn't remember when we were talking about this, like maybe 2 years ago, the seasonal stuff that's lasting now, or releasing now, lasts until the next expansion launches. So any of this storyline stuff, any of these psyops battlegrounds, these like mini strikes they're releasing, that stuff lasts for a year, if not longer. So
I was gonna ask, how long do you think, like at your guys' pace, how long would it take you guys to max those out, do you think?
Max what out?
The season whatever, battle passes or...
Well, I mean, I'm like season rank 130 something at this point, so like it's
so you can get pretty far into it without trying very hard.
Yeah, and that's kind of the nice thing about Destiny is they're trying to decrease the importance of kind of the daily and weekly bounties. They still give a ton of experience to you, so it's still a very good source of that. But so many people are such babies about the thing that I do in Destiny, which is I think the way that you're intended to do it, is you kind of scoop up all the bounties you run across. If you complete them, cool. If you don't, fine. I'm not going to go out of my way and say, oh, I'm going to put it on a sidearm because they're garbage. Because, you know, the gunsmith has a sidearm bounty today. That is not worth my time. I'm not going to do these things in a strike because I'm not going to play strikes today. I think that's kind of the intended path. But the real source where you get a lot of your experience, and it gives you a ton, is in the kind of weekly seasonal challenges. And that's usually kind of like, oh, defeat... One of them this week was like, defeat powerful enemies in Gambit. Play a handful of matches, you knock that out. It gives you like 2 or 3 battle pass levels just for doing that.
Cool.
There's one like, run a bunch of Nightfall strikes. Do that, another 2 or 3 battle pass levels for just doing that. Stuff you're probably going to be doing anyway, so it's really easy to just kind of... You, of course, get experience for defeating enemies, but there's these big kind of caches of experience that they have in a bunch of different systems. So it's really easy to just get everything, see everything really easily. It's in a much better spot than it has been in years past, which is nice. Now, the thing that Bungie really needs to do is steal the thing from the Master Chief Collection, which is being able to buy a season pass at any point and work towards unlocking those cosmetics. Because, like, if you want to go back and you like the armor cosmetics from Season 8 or whatever season that was, you can't get it. Which sucks. Yeah. Like, a lot of new players would be more than happy to say, like, the way the Master Chief Collection works is you make like an active season, and any XP gains you get are applied to that season and not like a current one or another season. I think that's a really smart way of doing it, and I hope more of these Battle Pass games kind of make that choice, because you can get $10 more across... This is Season 16. You can potentially get $150 out of a person and more game time in your game to unlock some old cosmetics. Like, I think everybody wins, but we shall see. But that's all I'm playing this... Well, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I'll talk to you after.
No, you can ask it now.
Well, no, I was just going to say, would that even be feasible since they, I guess, like, pull some of the content? Yeah.
Oh, so most of the stuff that's in the Battle Pass is like...
just like do as many Gambit missions or, you know, whatever.
No, it's even like the Battle Pass is very much like cosmetics. So it's like, oh, you get this exotic gun, or you get like armor ornaments that you can apply to any armor, or like a shader or an emblem or stuff like that. Like, it's not really tied to the gameplay. It's more like something like you'd see in Fortnite or Apex or Valorant or something, where it's like, all right, you played enough matches, you got enough XP, you unlocked this
that was going to be my other thing too. Is it just based on the XP you earned, or is it... Okay. I
Yeah,
didn't know
'cause-
if it was like kill, this enemy type, 50
Yeah,
times, and
that's how they tie it into like the seasonal challenges, and those are the ones that give you. Those will be the ones where it's like play 10 Gambit matches, then that'll give you like 2 or 3 Battle Pass levels. And Battle Pass is just like, here's a cool weapon, here's a shader, here's an emote, here's a exotic weapon ornament, that sort of stuff. So it'd be nice. All right, that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep.
Can you tell it's been a couple years since I've played Destiny 2?
Well, and that's the thing too, is like I'm not saying this about you, but there's so many people online that are still like, oh, Destiny 2, this broken thing, and they keep removing stuff. And it's like, yeah, but like the game is so fundamentally and foundationally different from where it used to be that like it's essentially a brand new game. And like, yes, it does suck that they removed a bunch of stuff from the game, but Witch Queen launched with some fairly large issues that some of them they have been able to fix because of them removing some of this old content. They've been able to fix some of this stuff without patching the game. They just like put out a tweet and they're like, hey, by the way, we fixed this, like now it works. You'll just, if you're in game, you'll just see it next time you go to the planet. It's like that's a far cry from where we got from like Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, where it's like, we ship one patch every 3 months. Good luck. Hope it's not broken.
I'm part of the group that fell off when we had beaten the game, and then like, I don't know, like 6 months later or whatever, like, hey, there's still not jack shit to do in this game now since we've beaten it. What's going on?
And that's the thing that they're doing really well with the seasons now, where like Witch Queen dropped, that's like the next big step forward in the story, but each season has its own kind of complementary story that unfolds week over week. So like these past 4 weeks have taken the other side of the coin from Witch Queen's story and told like a really, really cool story with its own like hand-drawn cutscenes and its own pre-rendered stuff. So it's a very far cry from like, you finish the campaign, get on the loot treadmill. Like, we'll see you in the next expansion in 6 months.
I do like the introductions to the different characters. Like, I just got not Savathun, Saladin's cutscene recently.
Oh, what a cool cutscene, man.
Uh-huh.
Just incredible, like, hand-drawn
like, considering
stuff.
I don't know anything about that dude, like, seeing that is, like, really, really cool to introduce you to that character.
Yep. Yeah, Destiny's
like, Saints in the last season. Saints was fucking incredible.
Yeah, the Legend of Saint 14. Yeah.
You know what I missed? The thing that I missed and the thing that I kind of still hated was the cards from the first game.
Yeah, that stuff's all in-game now.
Yeah, which I don't mind, because, I mean, it very much for the better, but it was also kind of cool having those cards to go back to in the first game, where it's like, all right, what the fuck is this? And then you pull up the card, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But the bigger problem at the time was that you were looking at that card because you didn't know what the fuck that was, because the game didn't bother to tell you anything about it.
Yeah, they do a way better job now of, like, using so essentially, instead of those cards, now they have books in-game. So it's a lot of times you'll unlock like 8 pages of one book, and it'll tell like one cohesive story in that book. And you can either read it in game, or you can read it on like the companion app on your phone, or the website if you want. And it's always like complementary to the story they're telling in game, as opposed to, you should go read the lore books to understand. Like, it's really very much like, here's this character's history and inner thoughts based on what they're showing you in game. Like, it's way better than like, you ran into this enemy race. That's all we're telling you. It's like, great, thanks. Yeah, it's come a long way.
Let me know when they come out with cool user manuals and
yes, yeah, hand drawn ballpoint pen.
I can unlock my fox armor, and I might get back into it.
Yeah, the best tie-in ever. All right, are you guys ready to do the second part here?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of March 21st, 2022. Rune Factory 5 comes out on the Switch.
I'm so glad I don't own the Switch.
Yeah, I feel like I would like these games, and I can't open that Pandora's box. I've like closed it a little bit on Stardew Valley, and I'm okay with Stardew Valley as it is right now until like another big patch comes out. I'm like, all right, starting that back up again. All right, let's start a new farm.
Did you see that I threw in Discord that the mobile version is now live with patch 1.5?
Yeah, it's not yet, but he's self-publishing that, and apparently there's still problems bringing... Patch 1.5 was really big for the game and like changed a lot, and it sounds like the team he has working on the porting, he's a very nice guy. He's trying not to say like
it a little.
he's trying to say like this porting team is not doing a great job, but it's a lot of like there's some growing pains and it's taking a little longer than I'd like it to. But you know, the team's working real hard, so I don't know. He's already talked about the next patch where he's like, "What if I made it so you could move your house on your farm?" And I'm like, "You're pulling me back in, concerned ape. Get me on back in there." A Memoir Blue is coming out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is a Annapurna published game. They say, A Memoir Blue is an interactive poem about a superstar athlete and the all-encompassing love between mother and daughter. If you watch the trailer, it looks sad as hell. So if you're looking for a game like that right now, an Annapurna sad as hell game, TM, check out A Memoir Blue.
You feel like you haven't been gut punched enough in the last 2 years. This one will curb stomp you.
Yeah, get ready for a good cry. On the other end of the spectrum, The Ascent comes out on PS4 and PS5. This was the Game Pass Cyberpunk game that I really, really liked last year. So that's coming out PS4 and PS5. I haven't played it. It's very good. It's a very cool game. I like that a lot.
Yeah, isometric top-down shooter looking thing.
Yep. It's great.
The amount of times I've screwed myself over holding down left trigger for aiming, and I just shoot higher.
Just shooting over everybody. Yeah. It's very good. I like The Ascent a lot. Ghostwire Tokyo comes out on PS5 and PC. This is that first-person Tokyo monster ghost hunting thing that Sony's been pushing very hard for a while. I think this is another timed exclusive, if I remember correctly. Does Microsoft own them?
I think it's Machine Games, which is a Bethesda studio joint, which is a Microsoft studio joint.
Machine Games begat this, yeah. So I believe
the family tree.
Yeah, that's right. So I believe it's only a year exclusivity, but I'm not entirely sure. But
usually what they tend to be, yeah.
Yeah. Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes out on Switch. I'm sure you've seen this because of Mouthful Mode a month ago.
Tango Gameworks, which is a Bethesda subsidiary, which is a Microsoft subsidiary.
Machine Games was Wolfenstein?
Possibly.
I think. Yeah. Kirby and the Forgotten Land comes out on Switch. Everyone seems to be really, really hot on this after the demo. Apparently the demo was really good. So go check that out if you haven't. And lastly, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. I continue to be kind of bummed about all of the footage they've shown of this game, because their initial sales pitch of this was like, yeah, it's going to be a radically different Borderlands spin-off game. It's not. You still have a bajillion guns, and now you can just throw spells every once in a while. And it just... Andy Samberg is in it, which is kind of a selling point, but I'm definitely not going to be picking up another Borderlands game that does not look different from Borderlands 2, so...
I was actually going to ask, have either of you played 3?
I played probably like an hour and a half of 3. My wife and I picked it up because we had so much fun playing co-op on 2, and like... Man, starting in a brown desert at the beginning of that game, doing the same type of missions as 2, really wasn't doing it for us, and we tapped out after like an hour and a half. Okay. Like, it is just more Borderlands, which for a long time would have been really great, especially after pre-sequel. I liked that game a lot, but 3 needed to do something different.
I never played 3, and I think it was because I did get burnt out on 1 and then 2 and then
Yeah.
the pre-sequel and then the
Yep.
Telltale game that they had.
Yeah, like 1 and 2, and especially all of 2's DLC was really good. They released that last DLC pack for 2, the Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep or whatever it was called. They released that as a standalone thing. So if anyone never checked that out, that was one of the best pieces of DLC for 2. You can play that standalone now because it kind of leads into Wonderlands, as I understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's out now. I'm not gonna be picking it up. Don't look forward to my impressions. I guess this is the short on that one. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago we talked about Sony's State of Play for March. Xbox had their Xbox Showcase this last week for their kind of their March showings. Showed off a handful of games. Showed off Immortality, which is the new game from Sam Barlow's team. That's the Her Story games. They're making a trilogy of FMV mystery games this time. The whole thing here is you're kind of trying to figure out what happened to a famous actress, Marissa Marcel, and you're going to be exploring footage from her lost movies, and movies that never got released. You're kind of scrubbing through the footage of those movies to kind of try and figure out the mystery. It's coming out sometime this summer. Game Pass, day and date. That looks pretty cool. I like their stuff.
Yeah.
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn is coming out from A44 Studio. They released Ashen, which is an action RPG that you'll probably notice as soon as you look up a trailer for that one. This is an open world action RPG. Not a lot of gameplay on this at the moment that I could find. There's a little bit of stuff here and there. Kind of at the moment, it looks like it's that studio's art style. It's an action RPG. It looks like it's kind of a mix of kind of sci-fi tech and fantasy, which, as we found out with Sable, is incredibly my jam. So that could really be kind of a neat thing. That's also coming out sometime this year. That's all the release window they have. That's also Game Pass day and date. Thankfully, we got more footage of Cursed to Golf. This is a game I've been looking forward to for a while. It's a 2D puzzle golf game where it's a side scroller, but you're kind of trying to puzzle out how to get through kind of a nightmare hellscape golf course that is kind of, it isn't just a flat line. You're kind of puzzling out how to get through this, a little bit of a maze for each golf course. And then when you finish a hole, you get like an FTL style map where you get to pick the next node you go through to kind of go through a whole set of courses. It looks really cool. It's really creative. Go watch a trailer on Cursed to Golf if you haven't seen it yet. No release window yet. It was also originally coming to PS4 and Switch. I can't figure out if Microsoft is helping publish it now or not. There seems to be kind of this implicit understanding that they are now, but I'm not sure if that's a misunderstanding from them showing it at an ID at Xbox Showcase or if there's been some sort of publishing switching hands now. But looks really cool. I hope it gets released on everything because I think it could do especially well on Switch. Next up, they showed... Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, that's good Switch game right in the art style, to be honest.
Yeah. Next up, they showed Escape Academy. This is I Am 8-Bit's first game as a publisher. I kind of forgotten they had opened up a publishing wing. So they're going to be publishing this. Described as a school where promising students train to become the ultimate escape room master. You're going to have to get through more than a dozen handcrafted escape rooms. The neat thing about this is you can play it solo or as a 2-player co-op. And watching the trailer, this looks pretty cool. Like it looks like a kind of fantasy school escape room thing that I think could be pretty neat. Coming sometime this year. There's no real explicit release window beyond that, but check out Escape Academy.
100%. This is tickling your Danganronpa vibes. I'm guessing.
Yeah, and I like what were those iOS? I think they're on Steam and VR. The room games where it's like you're trapped in a room, figure out the puzzles to get out. Like I'm always kind of a sucker for a game putting you in a puzzle and just like taking its hands off. It's like I gave you all the clues, Mr. Detective. Like just figure it out. Next game is
did an escape room maker.
Oh man, that'd be great. There has to be a game like that on Steam.
It's somewhere,
right?
probably.
Steam
yeah.
Workshop integration. Yeah. Next game is Whalefall. That's all one word. Whitethorn Games is making this one. It's a, quote, combination SRPG/JRPG set in a high fantasy world inspired by the Lord of the Rings, the Suikoden series, and the Final Fantasy games, end quote. This looks... I like the art style in this one. This looks kind of neat. Not a ton of gameplay on this one either. There's not even a release window on this one. But this one kind of looks neat. I think this is something to keep an eye on a little bit. And a game that undoubtedly we will to be talking about on this show, close the show, Wrestle Quest. The subtitle on this game is Tag Team with Destiny. It is a turn-based wrestling RPG, and by wrestling I mean professional wrestling. Features Macho Man Randy Savage, Booker T, Andre the Giant, Jake the Snake Roberts, Jeff Jarrett, and more. This looks very much like Punch Club, that kind of simulation fighting thing that got released a couple years ago. And yeah, it's a turn-based RPG featuring famous professional wrestlers doing their thing and getting loot and experience and money, and it looked really good.
Yeah, it's got like the Paper Mario style combat system. It looks like as well, where like it's got the button prompts,
the timing based
like,
stuff,
special moves, and it's just like, oh no.
Yeah, it looks surprisingly good. I hearing the kind of elevator pitch on that without watching the trailer, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. But watching the trailer, it's like, no, I think you have your finger on the pulse of what this game should be. I think
that's like 2 or 3 wrestling games, or 3 wrestling games that could be amazing. You got this one.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the wrestling battle royale that Dave Lang is making, which
the Wrestle
Kingdom, is it?
No, I don't remember it. They just had a closed beta, and everybody seems to be really popular or really hot on that. No, I don't remember. Moon's looking it up, but I think that one looks to. Yeah, I think that one looks really good, as like a cool open world battle royale sort of thing.
And then hopefully at some point the AEW game comes out, which is based on the Aki engine, which is the best wrestling engine.
Yeah. Has that been formally announced, or is that the kind of like an open secret?
It's an open secret. They actually do like weekly, or I think it's bi-weekly or monthly, like updates on the game where they're showing like the latest footage and stuff like that. Like they're doing basically dev diaries with like the wrestlers being part of it as well, and showing like the stuff like that. It looks pretty good.
That Iron Galaxy game is called Rumbleverse.
Thank you.
The thing I was getting confused on is the name of the city is incredible. It's called Grappital City, which is just
That's the one.
still the best name that you could possibly come up with for that. So that was a cool idea at Xbox. I didn't watch that live or anything, but most sites have it archived, and there's a bunch of cool trailers you can check. They also announced a whole bunch of stuff that's on Game Pass or coming to Game Pass. Like Tunic was announced as coming on Game Pass on that. Like a whole bunch of other stuff that's kind of coming out over March, the rest of March and April. So a lot of great stuff coming out. Shockingly, Game Pass still a good deal.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thought? All right, that's all of our news stories. That's the end of our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. You can visit us over at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including the YouTube channel talked about earlier and the Discord server. I recently remembered to create the Not E3 2022 channel so we can talk about all the crazy
press conferences. And
Yeah,
everything else.
usually Nintendo Directs and State of Plays over there. So go check that out over on Discord, featuring the best community on the internet, hands down. No other community comes close. And patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones are numbers.
Told you about the crazy episode of The Outcast this week. You can get that over there exclusively. The $5 a month tier is a recommended one that gets you everything, including the production meeting for Critical Misses, the one where we do that between seasons. That's also an exclusive over on Patreon at the $5 tier. And you get all that stuff. You help me pay for the show, which is huge. This stuff is not cheap. So if you want to see where all the budget goes, I'm very transparent about that over on the page. And go sign up over at patreon.com/E1M1. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Oi.
Bye.
Titles. Nimp, what do you got?
I have Order of Extraction,
Okay.
Just Tron, Tronnabe, I
That's what I
Fight for
wrote
the
down.
User, or I Fight for the Customer,
So
Lord
dumb.
VHS, The Virtual Killer, Chateaus to the Sky,
So
Destiny
stupid.
Trust Falls, and
Mm,
British Obelisk Joke.
pretty good.
It was so good.
All right, Moon, what do you have?
Au revoir Extraction, Tronnabe, It's a Destiny thing, Scary Hands, or alternatively, all caps, Hands,
Hands!
Stomping in Two Shots, Three Kids in a Cannon, and That Cute Fox Game.
Oh, God. I have Tronnabe and Rex's Rad Racer. Anything anyone's feeling strong about? Tronnabe seems to be our kind of leader here.
I feel pretty good about Tronnabe.
Yeah.
So I wrote
As soon as I thought about it, I thought, oh crap.
Yep, it's got to be that. I wrote down Tron Nabe, so Tronnabe.
My spelling, and this is open to interpretation, was Tron -Abbe. Like wannabe replacing the what with Tron.
Yeah, I just put
Trying
Tron
to see how
and
you
then
spell
A-B-E.
Wannabe is spelled Wannnabe. Okay, so it should be Tronnabe. Okay. English. The language.
Oh.
Okay, I will circle it. Skewer it. Let me know when you guys are ready.
Guess I'm ready. I guess. No, I'm not. I'm not ready.
Okay,
No,
I was gonna say I would be the least surprised if you just had one in the chamber. It's like I got a Tron joke ready.
No, hold on.
I don't even have to reclaim a Tron joke. Bye.
I hate you so much.
Yeah, that's fair. Moon's going to his mind palace to try and come out with Tron jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, pretty much.
Green screen stuff. I don't know if Tron was even shot in a green screen back then. Blue screen jokes, maybe?
Oh.
I was gonna say blue
Okay,
screen,
okay.
probably.
Okay, I got something. And it's kind of a deep cut. But okay.
Bye,
we're
Luis.
good. Bye, Luis. Thanks for
Such a
ruining my
deep
desk.
cut that your cat has already given up on you.
That's right. I know this joke can be bad. I'm leaving.
It's gonna be bad.
Yeah.
Dad joke acquired. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 752 for March 21st, 2022. Tronnabe.
Rinsler and Smash when?
I wanna be a Tronnabe.
Rensler. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We appreciate it. We'll hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.